On January 6, 2021, thousands of protesters descended on the US Capitol. They stormed the building while Congress was in session in an attempt to prevent Joe Biden from becoming the next president of the United States.
And they are now up the steps of the Capitol. We're going to show you the shot. They have gotten past the riot police, it appears.
These protesters are in the building.
They broke the glass. Everybody stay down!
Many came armed. They broke windows, fought with cops, vandalized the building, stole various items, and even killed a police officer. Some protesters hung a noose outside as others breached the Senate floor, looking for mob-style justice.
Treason! 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 Where the fuck are they?
Police even found a truck full of explosives, as well as pipe bombs placed at the DNC and RNC headquarters. Scanning the crowd and sifting through hours of footage from the event, you'll see hundreds of Trump flags and MAGA hats, but you'll also see Confederate flags, QAnon logos, Second Amendment protesters, loads of Christian flags, signs, symbols, and chants, and even occasional pagan imagery. But many on the right have straight up denied all wrongdoing on their side and placed the blame purely on Antifa.
We just got this from Lance Wallnau saying it was Antifa who pushed through to not listen to the news, that it was Antifa, not the Trump supporters. That's what we hear from him.
But is there any real evidence to back up this claim? Well, let's objectively take a look at what we've got and see who really stormed the Capitol. Was this an inside job that resulted in vandalism on the part of an anti-fascist organization? Or was this a violent coup attempt and a threat to our democracy? With so many groups represented on January 6th, who really was to blame for the events at our Capitol? Contestant number 1, the White Supremacists. This one is a bit of a mixed bag. It's clear that there were blatant racist protesters and white nationalists in the crowd, and even the Proud Boys made an appearance. But at the same time, some of the key organizers of the event were black, including the founder of the Stop the Steal movement, Ali Alexander. Contestant number 2, the Second Amendment activist. While gun rights activists were present at the event, it was pretty clear that they weren't there to protest gun rights. It was more of a show of force, because nothing says we're armed and don't mess with us like a sea of assault rifle icons next to the words "come and take it" and "don't tread on me" flags. That said, we'll give Cowboy a pass this time. Contestant number 3, Antifa. The claim goes something like this. The anti-fascist Black Bloc goons dressed up as Trump supporters to incite violence and make the peaceful, law-abiding protesters look bad. This is by far the prime suspect, according to Republicans, and within 24 hours of the event had been mentioned over 400,000 times on cable TV and print journalism and across social media.
Mob storms Capitol. No, this wasn't a pro-Trump mob storming the Capitol. This was organized Antifa radicals.
We don't know who they are. Obviously, some of them were pro-Trump. Some of them, now we know, were not pro-Trump. They had infiltrated, but it's a whole madness.
We're hearing this, that there's some arrests that have been made, that some Antifa members have disguised themselves as Trump people.
With thousands of angry, riled up, and even armed protesters facing off against the police.
Millions of Americans are armed
To protect the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic!
To claim that their side was entirely peaceful and all of the violence was done by members of Antifa is a pretty extraordinary claim. So, being an advocate of healthy skepticism, I have to say, prove it.
Now, this next guy is Jacob Chansley, 32, of Arizona. He is an Antifa member, and they're all saying he's a Trump member. Well, he's an actor, and he goes by the name of Jake Angeli, has a Facebook page that he posts only Trump stuff. It's all an act, but he is an Antifa member.
Here's the problem. Beowulf here is actually a fairly well-known QAnon conspiracy theorist. His name is Jacob Chansley, aka Jake Angeli. This isn't his first Trump rally dressed up as a bullhorn furry. It's sort of his bit. He's literally known as the Q shaman. In fact, here he is speaking at a Trump rally on November 5th.
Hold the line, patriots. This is worldview warfare. We are taking the nation back. We will not allow communism in the United States.
And even if this was his first rodeo, he's covered in multiple Norse tattoos, which have long been appropriated as neo-Nazi symbols. Sure, there's plausible deniability here since he could just be a pagan or a fan of Norse mythology. But If he was Antifa and ran in packs where a green frog isn't seen as a way for 4chan incels to troll the left, but is literally Hitler reincarnated, and the OK symbol is no longer usable because it now means white power, you really think he would go anywhere near a Nazi dog whistle, much less permanently tattoo it all over his body? And here he is in November at another Trump rally, just a few feet away from Alex freaking Jones, moments before Jones goes off about the globalists and leads the crowd in a prayer chant for Trump.
Humanity will defeat the globalists! Pray for Trump! Pray for Trump! Pray for Trump!
But while we're on the topic of tattoos, isn't that a hammer and sickle? The communists have clearly infiltrated the Trump rally. What do you say to that, Thomas Westbrook?
I'll admit that this low-res photo taken on a Potato Pixia 9000 does look suspiciously like Marx's symbol of proletarian solidarity. If only there were more people at the Capitol with high-definition cameras on them, able to snap a quick photo of our little Marxist devil here. Oh wait! I know that symbol! That's literally a tattoo of the Outsider's mark from the game Dishonored 2. But the Washington Times, a reputable newspaper, identified them as Antifa.
And I don't know if the reports are true, but the Washington Times has just reported some pretty compelling evidence from a facial recognition company showing that some of the people who breached the Capitol today were not Trump supporters. They were masquerading as Trump supporters and, in fact, were members of the violent terrorist group Antifa.
The Washington Times, a conservative newspaper, did run an article claiming that, according to an unnamed military officer, a facial recognition company identified people in this photo as members of Antifa. There's just one problem. It never happened. The facial recognition company, XR Vision, released the following statement. XR Vision takes pride in its technology's precision and deems the Washington Times publication as outright false, misleading, and defamatory. They filed a cease and desist, and the Washington Times retracted the article. But wait! The guy in the faded piss-colored hoodie sure does look an awful lot like this dude in the Philly Antifa website.
Well, hot dog diddly do, we got you anti-fascists now. I tell you what you said about that? That's undeniable.
Here's the thing. I tracked down the picture on the Philly Antifa site, and sure enough, he is on there. But he's not a member. It's a photo of a neo-Nazi that Antifa is tracking named Jason Tankersley, the founder of the Maryland Skinheads. So if this is the same guy, and the Trumpers have literal Nazis with them storming the Capitol, which they did, but it wasn't this guy, that looks even worse for the Trump protesters.
Okay, but that's not even the same guy anyways. We knew it was a false. I mean, it's clearly not the same guy.
As it turns out, the sleuths of Parler misidentified the guy in the picture. Their little freedom fighter in the yellow hood is actually an Alabama Trump supporter named William Watson. He was arrested back in July for selling drugs.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime.
And jumped bail to be at the protest. After his own side turned against him, threw him under the wagon, and called him Antifa, he posted this to his Snapchat. They want to call me Antifa because I have a video game tattoo on my hand and I was pleading for peaceful discourse. Let them say what they will, the fake news won't win against the thousands of patriots who recorded today. That's right, you have someone claiming that he's not Antifa even though it looked like he was Antifa because he was calling for peacefulness, and then he's calling his own side fake news even though his side normally calls the news fake news, and it's a mess. Frankly, I believe the guy. Hell, look at his dazed and confused face. I know that look. That's not the face of a traitor or a stone-cold black bloc anti-fascist. That's the look of a poor, lost stoner on a quest for the Taco Bell munchies who somehow ended up in DC following a Minotaur all the way to Nancy Pelosi's private Dorito stash. We've all been there. Seriously though, if these people were Antifa, you'd think that they would do the one tactic Antifa is most known for: wearing a mask. Hell, it doesn't even have to be a balaclava. We're in a pandemic. They could wear MAGA masks and they'd blend right in.
These guys, I'm looking at them. I got guys with tattoos up and down their arm, like, pierced ears and beards. This is not your typical evangelical. I said, this is the local Antifa mob.
And what exactly do you think that the typical Trump supporter looks like? Because every tattooed beard man in this photo looks like he wakes up in the morning and asks himself, what would Duck Dynasty do? The fact is, law enforcement officials have since arrested over 100 rioters who stormed the Capitol and have identified 200 plus more.
Congratulations, Trumpancy. They were waiting for you. Throne 2020! Throne 2020! Civil War!
And there's no evidence that any of them were Antifa. There was a violent felon extremist named Robert Keith Packer who was seen there with a group vandalizing Nancy Pelosi's office while wearing a Camp Auschwitz shirt. Thomas Robertson and Jacob Fracker, two off-duty cops, were charged with violent entry, trespassing, and disorderly conduct as they stormed the Capitol. Even a West Virginia Republican lawmaker named Derek Evans was seen illegally storming the Capitol. Now, how on earth do you know that that was actually Derek Evans? It looks like an Antifa doppelganger to me.
We're in! Derek Evans is in the Capitol!
Oh, well, oopsie. Ah! Finally, someone who looks a little like Antifa. Black gloves, sort of a balaclava. Are those Doc Martens? Except they don't have yellow laces, and those are combat pants, not skinny jeans, not to mention the blatant Punisher logo. No, this was Eric Munchell, a Trump supporter from Tennessee attending the revolution with his mommy Lisa, who told the Daily Mail that this country was founded on revolution, and later said that we have to organize if we're gonna fight back and be heard. Also among the criminals was Richard Barnett, the leader of a pro-gun rights group, Nick Osh, the founder of Proud Boys Hawaii, and Tim Gionette, aka Baked Alaska, an alt-right activist who literally live-streamed his involvement to DLive while his followers cheered him on and requested that he hang all the congressmen.
These people were not mongrels. I am believing with all of my heart that this thing was a setup from the word go. I was there. I had a bullhorn right at the steps. I was leading people in prayer. It was very, very peaceful.
Hey, don't sub me, bro. No, don't sub me. Cool. You're not allowed to sub me.
Hey,
you're cool. Dude, don't. I'm going. Stop shoving me. No, you got a fucking problem. You're a fucking oath breaker, you piece of shit. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you!
These people were not mongrels.
You piece of shit! You broke your oath to the Constitution! Fuck you! Fucking shoving me and shit!
To top it all off, Baked Alaska here was an anti-masker who had just tested positive for COVID after being arrested for creating a public disturbance over a shop owner asking him to mask up.
Do you need a mask?
Yeah, I actually do. Do you have one?
Yeah, we do.
All right, thank you. I have one here to say, fuck your mask! I'm not wearing it.
Okay, get out then, man.
No, I want, do you guys have any,
Get out.
Shh. I can't buy this hat?
Dude, stop being a dickhead.
I'm not being a dickhead. I want to buy this hat.
That's cute. We're not going to sell anything.
Why not? Let me just buy the hat. Is this not America, bro? Why are you so triggered?
You're the great people. You're the great people. And you're the smartest people. You're the smartest people. You are the elite.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. How about that? You're a little communist snitch, bro.
Get out.
You leave.
Get out.
You small ass dick motherfucker.
They're not sending their best.
Call the police over a mask? You guys are fucking cucks, dude. Look at you. Look at you. You're fucking 400 ass pounds. Get on a fucking treadmill, bitch. SJW ass bitch. Blue hair ass looking ass bitch. Pull your mask up. Leave, please. Leave, please. Oh, please leave. How's that icy? You need some more calories, don't you?
Well, shit. He even seems like a prick to me. I know, and I can't leave you with such a sour taste in your mouth, so here's a little instant karma for this smug little botched abortion.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. Put your camera down. Put
Okay.
your hands behind your back.
What's wrong? What did I do?
You've committed trespassing. I already talked to them on my way here. They asked you 5 times to leave. That's more than reasonable.
I'm leaving right now, sir.
Doesn't matter. You lost that opportunity.
I'm leaving right now.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
I'm
Private
leaving
business.
right now.
No, you're not leaving right now. You're gonna
Why
turn
not?
around and put your hands behind your back. You're
you
under
serious?
arrest for trespassing. I'm dead serious.
And yet, despite all of this, despite weeks of planning and fomenting anger, post after post on Parler and other right-wing sites saying to come armed and declaring this to be a revolution and a 1776 moment.
This is our 1776 moment.
It's 1776.
Alex! 1776, brother! 1776!
1776.
Despite people literally showing up dressed in Revolutionary War outfits, almost in real time they began denying any wrongdoing, responsibility, or involvement. as though taking a card straight out of Trump's playbook.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
And everybody to the T thought it was totally appropriate.
They shared conspiracy videos like this one, claiming that it was an inside job. Even though just minutes before, there's footage of them smashing a different window and throwing planks inside. And no, they're not Antifa. In fact, that cat right there is Hunter Seyfried. His dad, Kevin Seyfried, is the one seen waving his beloved Confederate flag inside the Capitol. Both have since been identified and arrested. And the guy smashing the window with the shield has since been identified as a member of the Proud Boys.
Man, they are really trying to penetrate that door right there, aren't they? Holy cow. I could not imagine being up there right now. Look at that. People climbing through the windows.
I just have one question. If this is violent Antifa, enemy of the Republicans and American people trying to break into the Capitol, then how come all of these good American patriots surrounding them did absolutely nothing to stop them? So if it's not Antifa, what about Christian nationalists? And no, I'm not targeting all Christians. There's a very important distinction to be made, and I think Christianity Today put it really well.
Christian nationalism is a political ideology about American identity, and it is a set of policy prescriptions for what the nationalists believe the American government should do. Christian nationalism believes that the American nation is defined by Christianity, and that the government should take steps to keep it that way, to sustain and maintain our Christian heritage or our Judeo-Christian values or something like that. So it's not merely an observation about American history. It is a prescription for what America should do in the future. We should sustain and continue our identity as a Christian nation.
Rather than attempt to save souls and change hearts, they attempt to save America and establish a theocracy here on Earth. Christian nationalism, according to ChristiansAgainstChristianNationalism.org, seeks to merge Christian and American identities, distorting both the Christian faith and America's constitutional democracy. Christian nationalism demands that Christianity be privileged by the state and implies that to be a good American, one must be Christian. There are 90 to 100 million American evangelicals, and according to Christianity Today, 77% adhere to Christian nationalism.
Again, 78% of self-identified evangelicals are supporters or accommodators of this ideology. So that's tens of millions of people.
Christians have to be involved in politics. God commands it.
And that's just the evangelical Christians. How much did that play a role in the March on the Capitol? Well, over the last 4 years, evangelical churches across the nation have declared Trump to be chosen by God. Televangelists, radio hosts, authors, and church leaders with massive followings have propped him up as God's candidate.
You have to 100% believe me when I tell you Donald Trump was picked for 8 years by God, not 4.
And they made prophecy after prophecy that he would win a second term.
President Trump won. He will be re-elected and inaugurated for a second term, 100%. Joe Biden did not win.
J. Trump will serve a second term.
I believe that Trump's going to be president.
Dream that Donald Trump got reelected. There's no guessing games. He is the one that God's going to put his hands on.
Are saying President Trump has won.
So when he lost, the only way that they could explain it was that he didn't lose and that the election was in fact stolen.
President Trump does not win these lawsuits, then Biden becomes president and he becomes the commander-in-chief.
The enormity of this fraud, that China's involved, the Dominion machines, the network of absolute deception.
Behold, the ballots of the laborers who have voted in this election have been kept back by fraud.
Leading up to the march, Trump rallies and events organized by groups like Stop the Steal regularly gathered in prayer.
God, look down on this room full of patriots and give us the strength to continue to fight this fight. God, bless our president in the White House. He has been a beacon and actually probably the best president we've ever had in this country other than George Washington himself.
Quoted Bible verses and chose charismatic pastors to speak at their events. This was painted as a battle of good versus evil to take back America for God.
We are bigger than them. We are bolder than them. And I'm telling you, what they do not want is what is happening right here, what is happening in Nashville, what is happening in Georgia, what is happening in Philadelphia. This is a revival of patriotism like the world has never seen. And we got to push back and stand up, church. We got to push back and stand up.
Meanwhile, QAnon conspiracy theorists supporting Trump emerged spreading rumors of a widespread deep state cabal of Satan-worshipping cannibalistic pedophiles running our government, corporations, and media. While most Christians don't necessarily believe the claims of QAnon, most QAnon believers are also Christian nationalists. And that's why on January 6th, you saw so many people descend on the Capitol with Christian flags, signs, attire, and iconography chanting, "Trump is my president, Jesus is my savior," and also saw the crowd splattered with Q flags, shirts, logos, and slogans. Christian nationalism is divisive. It favors Christian privilege over religious neutrality in the public sphere. And this dangerous idea is incredibly widely held, not only because it's regularly trumpeted from the pulpit of thousands of churches across America.
We are very patriotic, very politically, motivated and supercharged, even in our pulpit messages.
But because it's taught in Christian private schools and colleges, and in most Christian homeschool curriculum like Abeka and Bob Jones. Well, yeah, who needs education when you got Abeka? Leading right up to the date of the protest, these charismatic network leaders, unable to come to terms with their gigantic prophetic failures, doubled down, riled up their base, and began calling for revolution. 1776, baby, 1776. So no, it wasn't Antifa. And while there were racist white nationalists and guns rights activists in the crowd, the overwhelming source of violent anger came from Christian nationalists lacking healthy skepticism who felt robbed of their God-chosen leader.
God will never abandon his people. God will deliver you from your persecutors. So I thank God for giving the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln the wisdom, the courage, the strength to correct this injustice.
For months, they were amped up by pastors and televangelists and descended on the Capitol with feelings of righteous anger in a crusade for good versus evil. Believing they were patriots, they drank the Kool-Aid and became traitors. And the result was staggering, destructive, deadly, and tore at the heart of the American democracy. This here is why I've been speaking out against religious dogma and promoting scientific skepticism and critical thinking for the last 5 years. Not because I hate Christians or God or want to abolish freedom of religion, but because without a little bit of reason and rationality, the future is pretty bleak. But if I could find my way out of over 2 decades of religious indoctrination, then maybe I can help others out of the rabbit hole too, which is why I make these videos. Unfortunately, given the sensitive nature of this topic, this video will most likely be demonetized. So if you want to support my work and help me and my team to keep making videos like this full time, you can make an ongoing pledge on patreon.com/holykoolaid or on Subscribestar. You can also make a one-time donation on PayPal or just binge watch and share some of my other videos. For serious, y'all, go pledge on his Patreon or whatever. That way you don't gotta use me in his videos and can actually go out and hire a real actor. But most importantly, dare to be curious, but don't drink the Kool-Aid. Not even a little black cherry or charcoal berry fan, perhaps a little tropical QAnon punch.